Welcome to my channel, Brain Decoded. Today I want to share something that many of us chase: more focus, more energy, more clarity, but that rarely comes by accident. Imagine waking up tomorrow and your brain is sharp, your mind clear, your body energized, and your workflow effortless. That's what today's topic is all about: daily habits that boost focus, energy, clarity. The way you begin your day is not just a routine, it's the first signal you send to your brain and body about what the day will be. The moment you wake up, your nervous system is in a delicate state between rest and activity. How you move from one to the other determines not only your alertness, but your focus, your energy, and your clarity for hours to come. Engineering your physiology in the morning is not about doing more, it's about strategically priming your body to allow your brain to perform at its peak. The first critical element is light. As soon as you open your eyes, seek natural sunlight. Your eyes are not passive receivers. They actively inform the master clock in your brain, the circadian system, about the time of day. When you expose yourself to morning light, it suppresses melatonin, the hormone of sleep, and elevates cortisol in a controlled, healthy way. This is not stress. It is a signal that your body needs to be alert and engaged. 15 to 20 minutes of sunlight, ideally within the first hour of waking, calibrates your circadian rhythm, sets your body temperature, and optimizes your neurochemistry for attention and motivation. Even if it's cloudy, light filtered through a window or stepping outside is sufficient to trigger this cascade. Hydration is the second pillar. Overnight, your body has lost water through respiration and perspiration. Dehydration, even mild, can impair cognitive function, slow reaction times, and reduce energy. Begin with a glass of water, perhaps with electrolytes if you're engaging in intense activity. Hydration restores blood volume, supports cardiovascular efficiency, and primes the nervous system for optimal neurotransmitter release. When your neurons are properly hydrated, your thoughts are sharper, your decision-making clearer, and your body more responsive. Movement is the next essential factor. This does not mean an hour-long gym session. Early morning movement, even as simple as a brisk walk, dynamic stretching, or a few minutes of bodyweight exercises, increases blood flow to the brain, elevates heart rate, and activates the sympathetic nervous system in a controlled way. Movement early in the day raises levels of norepinephrine and dopamine, neurotransmitters directly involved in attention, motivation, and energy. These chemicals are the drivers of focus. Without them, your cognitive performance will lag, no matter how much caffeine you consume later. Think of movement as a signal. It tells your brain, the day is starting, prepare for high-functioning activity. Breathwork and body activation can amplify this effect. Simple techniques such as a few rounds of deep diaphragmatic breathing or a pattern of fast inhalations and slow exhalations stimulate the autonomic nervous system, balancing parasympathetic recovery with sympathetic alertness. These shifts improve oxygenation, lower morning grogginess, and create a physiological state conducive to rapid thought, emotional regulation, and deliberate action. Caffeine, if used, should be timed strategically. Delaying it for approximately 90 to 120 minutes after waking allows your natural cortisol rhythm to peak first. When cortisol is high naturally, adding caffeine immediately can interfere with its pattern and reduce overall alertness later in the day. By waiting, caffeine acts as a precision tool rather than a crutch, enhancing focus without causing crashes or jitteriness. Nutrition complements these steps. A breakfast that balances protein, healthy fats, and fiber stabilizes blood sugar and sustains energy without spikes and crashes. Amino acids from protein support neurotransmitter synthesis, while fats provide sustained fuel for brain function. Carbohydrates, if included, should be timed according to your activity demands as they influence insulin and energy availability. Eating strategically in the morning ensures your physiology continues to support cognitive performance beyond the first hour of waking. Finally, mental priming is equally important. Spend a few minutes in deliberate awareness, set intentions, visualize your priorities, or review your tasks. The brain mirrors the body. When your body is activated, hydrated, and exposed to light, your mental state follows. Clarity arises not from passive wakefulness, but from the combination of environmental cues, physiological readiness, and intentional attention. By engineering these elements, light, hydration, movement, breath, caffeine timing, nutrition, and mental priming, you transform the first hour of your day from passive awakening into a structured signal for high-functioning performance. This is how focus, energy, and clarity are not simply hoped for, they are biologically prepared, chemically supported, and behaviorally reinforced. A morning done this way cascades across the day, improving attention, resilience, and productivity, and creating a rhythm that your brain comes to recognize and depend upon. The way we structure our work is often left to habit or convenience, but the reality is that our brains do not operate in a constant, unchanging state. Cognitive performance, attention, and energy fluctuate throughout the day in predictable cycles. Understanding these cycles and aligning your work with them is one of the most effective ways to increase focus, productivity, and clarity. Ignoring these rhythms is like trying to row a boat against the current. The effort may be intense, but efficiency and results are compromised. The first concept to understand is the brain's ultradian rhythm. Unlike circadian rhythms, which operate on a roughly 24-hour cycle, ultradian rhythms are shorter cycles, approximately 90 to 120 minutes in length, that govern our capacity for focus and cognitive work. During each cycle, our nervous system moves between periods of high alertness and heightened neural readiness, followed by brief dips in attention and energy. Forcing yourself to work continuously beyond these natural cycles is counterproductive. Mental fatigue sets in, mistakes increase, and clarity diminishes. The key is to synchronize your tasks with these natural peaks. High focus, high cognitive load tasks should be scheduled during the peaks of these cycles. These are periods when your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making, problem-solving, and creative integration, is most active and responsive. Tasks such as writing, strategic planning, or complex analysis benefit from this alignment. During these peaks, your visual system, attention networks, and working memory are optimized, allowing you to process information efficiently, form connections, and execute ideas with precision. Equally important is recognizing the valleys within these cycles. These periods of lower cognitive energy are not failures, they are signals from your physiology that the nervous system requires a brief reset. Attempting high-focus work during these valleys is inefficient and can even be counterproductive. Instead, use these moments for lower-demand activities, responding to emails, organizing your workspace, light administrative tasks, or even brief movement breaks. These low-intensity activities allow your brain to maintain momentum without overtaxing energy systems. The structure of work should also incorporate deliberate defocus. Our brains are designed to shift between focused attention and diffuse thinking. Extended periods of uninterrupted focus without a defocus phase can saturate neural circuits and reduce creativity. Brief periods of stepping away from a task, walking, or engaging in light movement, NT, enable the brain to consolidate information, form connections, and even problem solve unconsciously. Defocus is a critical component of optimizing performance. It is not wasted time, but an essential mechanism for sustaining attention and clarity throughout the day. Environmental factors further modulate the effectiveness of cycle-based work. Minimizing visual and auditory distractions during high-focus periods ensures that the brain's attentional networks are fully engaged. The eyes are the gateway to neural engagement. If visual input is chaotic or attention is constantly redirected, the brain's ability to sustain cognitive effort declines rapidly. Similarly, controlling ambient lighting, temperature, and even subtle movement within the workspace can maintain the nervous system in a state conducive to extended focus. It is also important to recognize how energy and attention shift across the broader circadian framework. While ultradian rhythms govern shorter cycles, our overall energy availability follows a daily pattern. Morning peaks often align with alertness and motivation, while early afternoon dips are common. Structuring work by both ultradian and circadian rhythms ensures that your brain operates efficiently across multiple timescales. High-demand tasks should align with both peak ultradian cycles and high-energy phases in the circadian rhythm, while creative or lighter tasks can be scheduled during natural lulls. Lastly, integrating brief recovery practices within this structure amplifies the benefits. Techniques such as controlled breathing, short meditation, or even micro-movements between cycles support neurotransmitter regulation and reduce the cognitive load of sustained attention. The nervous system requires these micro-resets to prevent fatigue and maintain sustained performance over the course of the day. When work is structured in alignment with brain cycles, productivity transforms from brute effort into a precise orchestration of biology and behavior. Focus becomes sharper, energy becomes predictable, and mental clarity is preserved. It is not about working harder, it is about working in concert with your nervous system, recognizing the natural ebb and flow of attention, and strategically placing tasks in alignment with these rhythms. By honoring your brain's inherent cycles, you unlock a more efficient, sustainable, and effective approach to work that maximizes output while preserving mental and physical resources. The state of your mind is inseparable from the state of your body. Attention, motivation, and clarity are governed by a complex interplay of neurotransmitters, hormones, and neural circuits. While we often focus on willpower or mental effort to perform at our best, the truth is that biology dictates the boundaries within which these efforts succeed. By intentionally engaging your body, you can influence neurochemical systems in ways that amplify focus, energy, and cognitive performance. This is not theory, it is the mechanism by which the nervous system regulates itself, and understanding it allows you to work with your biology rather than against it. One of the most powerful levers for influencing neurochemistry is movement. Physical activity, even brief or moderate in intensity, triggers the release of key neurotransmitters such as dopamine, norepinephrine, and acetylcholine. These molecules are directly responsible for alertness, motivation, and learning. A short session of aerobic exercise elevates dopamine and norepinephrine, enhancing the brain's capacity to focus and process information. Meanwhile, movement stimulates blood flow to the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, regions essential for executive function and memory consolidation. Even a 10-minute walk or a series of dynamic stretches can prime the nervous system for higher cognitive performance, setting the stage for tasks that require sustained attention or creative problem-solving. Breathing is another tool that directly modulates neurochemistry. Simple interventions such as deep diaphragmatic breathing or controlled cycles of rapid inhalation, followed by prolonged exhalation, influence the autonomic nervous system. These patterns adjust the balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches, increasing epinephrine when alertness is needed and activating vagal pathways to reduce stress. The result is a regulated arousal state in which the mind is awake, focused, and emotionally resilient. Breathwork is particularly effective because it communicates directly with neural circuits without requiring conscious thought. The nervous system responds automatically, and neurochemical shifts occur within minutes. Temperature-based interventions, such as cold exposure, also modulate neurochemical systems in a powerful way. Cold immersion triggers a surge in norepinephrine and dopamine, both of which support sustained attention, motivation, and mood regulation. This is not merely a short-term energizer. Regular controlled cold exposure can recalibrate the nervous system, improving resilience to stress and sharpening focus over time. By strategically applying mild physiological stressors, the body releases chemicals that optimize neural function, and the brain learns to maintain elevated performance under challenging conditions. Visual engagement and sensory input provide another direct pathway to neurochemical regulation. The brain interprets visual information as a cue for alertness and readiness. Narrowing the visual field and reducing extraneous stimuli can increase acetylcholine release, enhancing selective attention and the capacity to process complex information. Conversely, controlled exposure to novel or enriched visual environments can increase dopamine signaling, boosting curiosity, motivation, and cognitive flexibility. These sensory interventions are not superficial. They represent precise ways in which the brain translates external cues into internal chemical signals that govern performance. Nutrition and hydration are equally critical. Neurotransmitters are synthesized from amino acids and nutrients obtained through diet. Protein-rich meals provide the building blocks for dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, while complex carbohydrates and healthy fats modulate insulin and support sustained energy. Hydration ensures that neurons operate efficiently. Even mild dehydration can impair neurotransmitter function, slow reaction times, and reduce focus. Timing meals and fluids according to activity and cognitive demands can optimize neurochemical balance throughout the day. Finally, integrating deliberate pauses and recovery periods into your day supports neurochemical regulation. Short periods of mindfulness, meditation, or non-sleep deep rest allow the brain to reset, consolidate memories, and stabilize neurotransmitter levels. These interventions prevent overstimulation, reduce cortisol overload, and preserve dopamine and norepinephrine for periods of high-demand focus. The nervous system functions best not under constant pressure, but under cycles of activation and recovery, where neurochemical systems are replenished and primed for the next peak performance phase. By leveraging these body-brain tools, movement, breathwork, temperature exposure, visual engagement, nutrition, and recovery, you gain the ability to intentionally shape your neurochemistry. Focus becomes sharper, motivation more reliable, and cognitive clarity more consistent. The mind is no longer dependent on random fluctuations of willpower or circumstance. It is actively supported by the physiological environment. Each of these interventions is simple to implement, yet their impact is profound. They allow you to optimize attention, maintain energy throughout the day, and navigate complex mental tasks with precision. When practiced consistently, these strategies transform your daily experience. Your energy no longer fades unpredictably. Your clarity does not depend on chance. Your focus becomes a trainable skill, rooted in biology, amplified through habit, and sustained by intentional engagement with your body. By understanding and applying these principles, you harness the natural interplay of the body and brain to create a state of heightened performance, resilience, and cognitive mastery. The way you end your day is just as critical as the way you begin it. Your evening routine directly shapes the quality of your sleep, the clarity of your mind, and the energy you carry into the next day. Most people underestimate this phase, assuming that rest is passive or that winding down happens automatically. In reality, The nervous system requires intentional signals to transition from the high alert state of daytime activity to the restorative state necessary for cognitive recovery and emotional balance. Properly managing this transition is not only about feeling calm, it's about optimizing neurochemistry, consolidating learning, and preparing the brain and body for peak performance tomorrow. Light exposure is the first and most powerful signal for winding down. Just as morning light primes alertness, evening light can suppress melatonin if it is too bright or too blue. Artificial lighting, particularly from screens, tells the brain that it is still daytime, keeping cortisol elevated and delaying the natural release of melatonin. To reset effectively, it is essential to reduce exposure to blue light at least an hour before sleep. This allows your circadian system to detect that the day is ending and triggers the hormonal cascade that promotes sleepiness, cognitive rest, and the proper consolidation of memory. The absence of harsh light is a physiological cue that your body interprets as a signal to begin repair, recovery, and preparation for the next cycle of high-functioning alertness. Nutrition timing also influences the quality of your wind down. Eating large meals right before bed can interfere with digestion and disrupt the natural decrease in metabolic activity that accompanies sleep. Consuming lighter, balanced meals earlier in the evening, focusing on proteins and low glycemic carbohydrates, supports the stabilization of blood sugar and prevents energy crashes that could awaken the nervous system during the night. Hydration should also be moderate. Sufficient water supports cellular recovery, but excess fluids right before bed can disrupt restorative sleep with nocturnal awakenings. Movement and gentle stretching in the evening can further prime the body for restorative sleep. Light activity such as yoga, mobility exercises, or a short walk signals to the nervous system that energy-intensive activities are concluding. It helps release residual tension accumulated during the day and supports the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, facilitating a calm physiological state that enhances the release of growth hormone and other repair-oriented chemicals. During sleep, breathing, and mindful practices in the evening are critical tools for resetting the nervous system. Deliberate slow inhalations and prolonged exhalations engage the vagus nerve, lower heart rate, and reduce sympathetic activation. Techniques such as guided meditation or non-sleep deep rest allow the brain to consolidate the experiences of the day, process stressors, and recalibrate emotional circuits. This is particularly important because unresolved stress or unprocessed experiences can elevate cortisol and norepinephrine, keeping the mind active when the body should be recovering. Sleep environment optimization is another essential factor. Temperature, sound, and light all feed directly into the nervous system's assessment of whether it is safe and optimal to rest. A cool, quiet, and dark environment supports deep restorative sleep stages, during which memory consolidation, cellular repair, and neurotransmitter balance occur. Small adjustments, like blackout curtains, height noise, or temperature control, can significantly improve sleep quality, ensuring that tomorrow begins with maximal alertness, focus, and clarity. Mental reflection and intentional planning for the next day are often overlooked but profoundly effective. Spending a few minutes reviewing tasks, setting priorities, or writing down thoughts reduces cognitive load during the night and prevents rumination. When the brain knows that there's a structured plan for tomorrow, it can disengage from hyperactive thought patterns, allowing deeper restorative processes to occur. This practice also enhances clarity, ensuring that your mind wakes in a state of preparedness rather than anxiety or distraction. Ultimately, winding down is about creating a consistent signal to the nervous system. Daytime activity is ending, recovery is beginning, and tomorrow's performance is being supported tonight. By combining reduced light exposure, strategic nutrition, gentle movement, breathwork, sleep environment optimization, and deliberate mental reflection, you engineer a physiological and psychological state that allows your brain and body to recover efficiently. When this routine is implemented consistently, the benefits compound. Sleep quality improves, cognitive clarity increases, emotional resilience strengthens, and energy levels stabilize. Rather than relying on chance or willpower to be productive tomorrow, you create a biological scaffolding that ensures your focus, motivation, and clarity are optimized from the moment you wake. The evening is not merely a passive transition, it is an active preparation phase, a crucial component of high-functioning performance and a deliberate investment in your brain's ability to operate at its peak. The path to sharper focus, elevated energy, and crystal clarity is not some mystical secret. It's daily choice engineered through biology. You choose your light exposure, your movement, your eating, your work structure, your rest. You build the scaffolding for your brain's highest performance. If you adopt even 3 or 4 of these habits consistently, morning light movement, structured focus blocks, neurochemical tools, proper wind down, you will see your mind change, your performance change, your clarity deepen. The real question isn't what else can you do? It's what will you stop doing that sabotages your biology? Today, choose your physiology. Build your environment. Lead your day rather than being led by it. And when you do that, the focus, energy, and clarity you want will stop being rare. They'll become your default. Thank you for being here at Brain Encoded. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious, stay aligned, stay focused.